The walk-in freezer shouldn't have been making that sound. Kendra Williams paused mid-stride, her arms full of dirty plates from table 7, and listened. There it was again. A sound that didn't belong among the hum of industrial refrigeration and the clatter of Chicago's busiest Korean BBQ restaurant during Friday night dinner rush. A cry. Thin, desperate, barely audible over the chaos of the kitchen. "Did you hear that?" she asked Marcus, the line cook who was plating banchan with practiced speed. "Hear what?" He didn't look up. "Girl, we got 12 tables waiting. Whatever it is can wait." But Kendra was already moving toward the freezer, her heart hammering against her ribs. That sound. It was a baby crying. She yanked open the heavy steel door, and cold air blasted her face. The temperature gauge read 28 degrees Fahrenheit. Freezing. Literally freezing. And there, tucked behind a stack of kimchi containers in a car seat covered with a thin blanket, was an infant. Oh my God. Kendra's hands shook as she rushed forward. The baby was maybe 3 or 4 months old, lips tinged blue, tiny fists curled tight, crying weakly like she didn't have the strength for more. Oh my God, oh my God. She scooped up the car seat and ran out of the freezer, her breath coming in panicked gasps. "Marcus, call 911. There's a baby in the freezer." The kitchen erupted in chaos. Cooks abandoned their stations. Manager Kim came running from the front. But Kendra wasn't paying attention to any of them. She was carefully pulling the baby from the car seat, wrapping her in her own jacket, holding the tiny frozen body against her chest. "Come on, sweet girl," she whispered, rubbing the baby's back, trying to warm her. "Stay with me. Please stay with me." The baby's crying was getting weaker. Her skin was so cold it felt like touching ice. How long had she been in there? 5 minutes? 10? Long enough to die? "Ambulance is on the way," Marcus said, his face pale. "Kendra, who would do this? Who would leave a baby in a freezer?" "I don't know." Tears streamed down Kendra's face as she rocked the baby. "But she's so cold. She's so cold and she's not crying anymore, and that's bad, right?" "That's really bad." Manager Kim appeared with heating pads from the first aid kit. "Keep her warm. Don't let her fall asleep." The baby's eyes were fluttering closed. "No, no, no, no." "Hey, baby girl," Kendra said, her voice breaking. "Open your eyes for me. Come on, sweet thing. Stay awake." She'd worked at Han's BBQ for 2 years, saving every penny for nursing school. She'd seen a lot of things in this restaurant: drunk customers, kitchen fires, food poisoning scares. But this, a baby abandoned in the freezer like trash? Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold the heating pads against the baby's tiny body. She had no idea what she was doing. No medical training beyond basic first aid, just instinct and desperate prayer. The baby's lips were still blue. Her breathing was shallow. Kendra pulled her closer, skin to skin, using her own body heat. She'd read somewhere that was what you did for hypothermia. Or was that for premature babies? God, she didn't know. "Where's the ambulance?" she demanded. "How long does it take to get an ambulance in this city?" "Traffic's bad," Manager Kim said grimly. "Friday night in the loop." The baby gave one more weak cry, and then went completely silent. Kendra's world stopped. "No." She shook the baby gently. "No, wake up. Wake up." The kitchen door burst open, and everything changed. Character introduction. The Mafia boss. The man who entered looked like he'd stepped out of a nightmare or a magazine spread. Tall, powerfully built despite a lean frame, dressed in a black suit that probably cost more than Kendra's monthly rent. His black hair was perfect despite obvious distress, and his face was carved from stone, except for his eyes. His eyes were wild with terror. "Hana!" The word tore from his throat, raw and broken. "Where is she? Where's my daughter?" He scanned the kitchen frantically, and when his gaze landed on Kendra holding the baby, he crossed the room so fast she didn't have time to react. He was just suddenly there, reaching for the child with shaking hands. "Hana-ya," he whispered, and Kendra heard the anguish in that single word. "Oh God, Hana. She's not breathing right," Kendra said, her voice cracking. "She was in the freezer. I found her in the freezer, and she's so cold and—" "The freezer?" His head snapped up, and Kendra saw murder in those dark eyes. Absolute, cold-blooded murder. "Someone put my daughter in the freezer?" Behind him, men in dark suits flooded into the kitchen. 6, 7, 8 of them, all moving with military precision. Manager Kim started to protest, but one look from the man holding the baby silenced him. "Ambulance," the man barked at one of his associates. "Now. I don't care if you have to steal one. Get it here." "Sir, there's one already coming," Kendra said quickly. "I called 911 as soon as I found her." His eyes fixed on her, really seeing her for the first time. "You found her?" "In the walk-in freezer. She was behind the kimchi containers in a car seat. I heard her crying." "How long ago?" "Maybe 5 minutes. I got her out immediately, and I've been trying to warm her up. But I don't know if I'm doing it right, and she stopped crying, and—" "You saved her." The words came out thick with emotion. "You saved my daughter's life." "I don't know if I did," Kendra said honestly, tears still streaming down her face. "She's so cold. Her lips are blue, and she's barely breathing." He pulled the baby from Kendra's arms, and she saw his hands were shaking. This powerful, intimidating man was trembling as he held his daughter. He pressed his face against the baby's hair, whispering in Korean, words Kendra couldn't understand but recognized as prayers. One of the suited men approached. "Sir, the ambulance is 2 minutes out, but Hana needs to go to Northwestern. We have our people there. Then we take her ourselves." The man stood, still cradling the baby. "Clear a path. Nothing stops us. No red lights, no traffic laws, nothing." "Wait," Kendra said. "The paramedics should check her first. Make sure it's safe to move her." He looked at her again, and something in his expression shifted. "You care about her. My daughter. You don't even know her, and you care." "She's a baby," Kendra said simply. "Of course I care." The ambulance arrived then, sirens wailing. Paramedics rushed in with equipment and warm blankets. They checked the baby's vitals, wrapped her in heat packs, started an IV line for warm fluids. Through it all, the man wouldn't let go of his daughter's hand. "Vitals are stabilizing," one paramedic said. "But she needs to get to the hospital. Hypothermia in an infant this young can cause serious complications." "I'm going with her," the man said. "It wasn't a request." "Sir, only one person can ride." "I said I'm going with her." His voice dropped to something deadly quiet. "Are we going to have a problem?" The paramedic looked at the 8 men in suits surrounding them and made a wise decision. "No problem at all." As they loaded the baby into the ambulance, the man turned back to Kendra. "Your name?" "Kendra. Kendra Williams." "Kendra Williams," he said it slowly, like memorizing it. "You saved my daughter's life. I don't forget debts like that." "It's not a debt," Kendra protested. "I just did what anyone would do." "No." His eyes bored into hers. "Most people would have walked past, would have assumed it was just equipment malfunction, would have been too busy to investigate. But you heard her. You saved her." He stepped closer. "That makes you important to me, and I protect what's important to me." Before Kendra could respond, he was gone, disappearing into the ambulance. The suited men followed in a convoy of black SUVs, leaving Kendra standing in the restaurant kitchen, shaking and confused and covered in melted ice crystals from the freezer. Manager Kim touched her shoulder gently. "You should go home. Take the rest of the night off." "What just happened?" Kendra whispered. "Who was that man?" Manager Kim's face went carefully blank. "That was Kang Min-jun. He owns this building, and about 40 others in Chicago." He paused. "And some businesses that aren't on any official records." The implication hung in the air. Mafia, crime, danger. Kendra had just saved the daughter of a Korean mob boss. And judging by the way he'd looked at her life was about to get very, very complicated. Kendra's world, the humble beginning. Kendra's apartment in Pilsen was exactly 387 square feet of controlled chaos. One room serving as bedroom, living room, and office. A kitchenette that barely fit a person and a hot plate. A bathroom where you had to close the door to use the toilet because it would otherwise hit the shower. It was small. It was old. The radiator clanked all night, and the neighbors upstairs fought loudly in Spanish. But it was hers. She collapsed on her bed, still wearing her work clothes, staring at the water-stained ceiling. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw that baby Hana. Her name was Hana, blue-lipped and silent in her arms. Her phone buzzed. A text from her best friend Shanice. "Girl, where you at? You were supposed to meet us for drinks an hour ago." Kendra had completely forgotten. She typed back, "Can't make it. Something happened at work. I'll explain later." "You okay?" "Yeah, just tired." She wasn't okay. She was anything but okay. Her mind kept replaying those moments in the freezer. What if she'd been 5 minutes later? What if she hadn't heard the crying? What if Hana had died because Kendra had been too busy to investigate a strange sound? The baby's father, Kang Min-jun, his face haunted her too. That mix of terror and fury, the way his hands had shaken when he held his daughter, the murder in his eyes when he'd learned she'd been in the freezer. Someone had put that baby there. Someone had deliberately tried to kill a 4-month-old infant. Who did that? And why? Kendra's phone rang, an unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Hello? Miss Williams. A male voice, accented but clear. This is Choi Dong-wook. I work for Mr. Kang. Her heart jumped. Is the baby okay? Is Hana okay? She's stable. The doctors say you got to her in time. Another 10 minutes and the hypothermia would have caused permanent damage or death. He paused. Mr. Kang wanted me to inform you personally. He said you deserve to know that Hana is safe because of you. Relief flooded through her so intensely she felt lightheaded. Thank God. Oh, thank God. Mr. Kang also wants to meet with you. Tomorrow, if possible. Meet with me? Why? To thank you properly, and to discuss your safety. My safety? Kendra sat up. Why wouldn't I be safe? The person who attempted to harm Hana may believe you saw something, may consider you a witness. Dong-wook's voice was gentle but firm. Mr. Kang takes the safety of those under his protection very seriously. I'm not under his protection. You saved his daughter's life, Miss Williams. That makes you family, and Mr. Kang protects his family. The word family sent a chill down her spine. In movies, when mob bosses talked about family, it usually meant you couldn't refuse, couldn't walk away. What if I don't want to meet with him? Then he'll respect that. Dong-wook paused. But the threat to your safety remains whether you acknowledge it or not. Meeting with him would allow us to provide proper protection. Kendra thought about her tiny apartment with its flimsy locks, about walking home alone from the late shift, about how easily someone could hurt her if they wanted to. Where and when? Tomorrow, 2 p.m. I'll send a card to your address. How do you know my address? Miss Williams. There was something almost apologetic in his tone. We know everything about you. It's what we do. The call ended, leaving Kendra staring at her phone. They knew everything about her. Her address, her workplace, probably her social security number and bank balance and every parking ticket she'd ever gotten. She should be terrified. Should be planning to run, to hide, to get as far from Kang Min-jun and his dangerous world as possible. But all she could think about was Hana's tiny blue lips. The weight of that cold baby in her arms. The desperation in a father's eyes. She'd saved that little girl's life. And apparently, that single act of compassion was about to change everything. The meeting. Power and vulnerability. The car that arrived at 1:45 p.m. was a black Mercedes with windows tinted so dark they looked illegal. The driver was Korean, middle-aged, wearing a suit that probably cost more than Kendra's entire wardrobe. Miss Williams? He opened the back door. I'm Mr. Han. Mr. Kang is waiting for you. Kendra had changed 3 times that morning, finally settling on her best jeans and a simple black blouse. Nothing too fancy, but not her ratty work clothes either. She'd pulled her natural curls into a high bun and put on the small gold hoops her grandmother had given her. Armor. That's what this outfit was. Armor against a world she didn't understand. The drive took them north, away from Pilsen's colorful murals and taco trucks, through downtown's gleaming towers, and into the Gold Coast. Buildings got taller, cleaner, more expensive. The people on the sidewalks wore designer clothes and walked expensive dogs. They pulled up to a luxury high-rise on Lakeshore Drive, the kind of building with a doorman and a marble lobby, and enough security cameras to film a movie. Top floor, Mr. Han said, leading her to a private elevator that required a key card. Mr. Kang is expecting you. The elevator was all mirrors and soft lighting. Kendra caught her reflection, a 6-year-old black woman who looked simultaneously scared and determined. Her mother's eyes stared back at her, brown and warm, her father's stubborn chin. You didn't raise me to be a coward, she thought to her parents, both gone 5 years now in a car accident that still felt surreal. So I'm not going to be one. The elevator opened directly into a penthouse apartment. No, apartment was too small a word. This was a palace. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Lake Michigan. The furniture was modern and minimal, all clean lines and expensive fabrics. Art hung on the walls that Kendra suspected was original, not prints. Everything was white, cream, and soft gray, except for occasional pops of color from Korean pottery and fresh flowers. And standing by the windows, holding a baby wrapped in a soft pink blanket, was Kang Min-jun. He looked different in the daylight streaming through those massive windows, still intimidating. That was just built into his bones, but more human. He wore black slacks and a white dress shirt with the sleeves rolled up, no jacket. His feet were bare. His hair was slightly mussed, like he'd been running his hands through it. And in his arms, looking pink-cheeked and healthy, was Hana. "Miss Williams." He turned and Kendra saw the shadows under his eyes. "Thank you for coming. How is she?" Kendra couldn't help moving closer, drawn to the baby like a magnet. "Is she really okay? The doctors say she's perfect. No lasting damage." His voice cracked slightly. "Because you got to her in time." Hana made a small sound, and Kendra's heart melted. The baby's eyes were open now, dark and alert. Her tiny fist curled around her father's finger. She looked nothing like the blue-lipped infant from last night. "Can I?" Kendra reached out hesitantly. Min-jun handed her the baby without hesitation. That surprised her. This man who clearly trusted no one, handing over his daughter like it was the most natural thing in the world. Hana settled against Kendra's chest, making small, contented sounds. "Hi, sweet girl," Kendra whispered. "You gave us quite a scare, didn't you?" When she looked up, Min-jun was staring at her with an expression she couldn't quite read. Intense. Searching. "She trusts you," he said quietly. "Hannah doesn't usually take to strangers, but with you, she's completely calm." "Babies know," Kendra said, rocking gently. "They know who means them well." "Yes." Something in his voice made her look up again. "They do." The moment stretched between them, weighted with unspoken things. Finally, Min-jun gestured to the seating area. "Please, sit. Can I get you something to drink? Coffee, tea, water?" "Water would be great." He disappeared into the kitchen, and Kendra settled on the couch with Hana. The baby gazed up at her with those solemn dark eyes, and Kendra felt something shift in her chest. Connection, recognition. "I saved your life," she thought. "That bonds us now, doesn't it?" Min-jun returned with water in a glass that probably cost more than her monthly phone bill. He sat across from her, elbows on his knees, studying her face. "I had my people run a background check on you," he said bluntly. "I hope you'll forgive the invasion of privacy, but given the circumstances, you needed to know who I was," Kendra finished. "I get it. What did you find?" Kendra Marie Williams, 26. Orphaned at 21 when your parents were killed by a drunk driver. Worked 3 jobs to finish community college. Currently working at Hans BBQ while saving for nursing school. He paused. "Your manager says you're the most reliable employee he's ever had. Your landlord says you always pay rent on time and help the elderly residents with their groceries. Your best friend Shanice says you're too kind for your own good." Kendra's eyebrows rose. "You talked to Shanice?" "My people are thorough." No apology in his voice. "I needed to know everything about the woman who saved my daughter." "And what's your conclusion? Am I trustworthy?" "You're exceptional." The word came out with complete certainty. "You work yourself to exhaustion helping others. You have no criminal record, no debts beyond student loans, no questionable associations. You saw a baby in danger and didn't hesitate to help, even though you had no obligation to, even though it could have been dangerous. It was just the right thing to do. Most people don't do the right thing when it's difficult." He leaned forward. "You did. That makes you rare, precious." The way he said precious sent heat through Kendra's veins. She focused on Hana, avoiding his intense gaze. "Why am I really here, Mr. Kang?" "Min-jun, please call me Min-jun." "Why am I really here, Min-jun?" He was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was low and dangerous. "Someone tried to kill my daughter yesterday. Someone with access to that restaurant. Someone who knew enough about my schedule to know I wouldn't be there for pickup." "Who?" "I have enemies." His jaw tightened. "Many enemies. I've built my empire by being ruthless, and that creates people who want to hurt me. But going after Hannah?" His hands clenched into fists. "That crosses a line. That's not business. That's personal. You think they'll try again? I know they will. And I think they might see you as a loose end. Someone who could identify them if you saw anything suspicious." Kendra's blood ran cold. "I didn't see anything. I just heard crying and found the baby." "They don't know that. For all they know, you saw them put Hana in that freezer. Saw their face, their car, something identifying. So what do? You let me protect you." There it was. The offer she'd known was coming but had hoped to avoid. I don't need protection. I can take care of myself. Minjun's expression was almost pitying. Miss Williams, Kendra, the people who tried to kill my daughter are professionals. They won't hesitate to eliminate anyone they perceive as a threat. Your determination is admirable, but it won't stop a bullet. Hana made a small whimper. Sensing the tension, Kendra automatically started rocking her, humming softly until the baby settled. You're a natural, Minjun observed, with children. I always wanted a big family. Before my parents died, that was the plan. Finish school, get married, have 4 or 5 kids. She smiled sadly. Life had other ideas. You still have time. Not really. Nursing school is another 3 years, then establishing a career, finding someone who wants the same things I do. She shook her head. By the time all that happens, I'll be too old for 5 kids. You're 26, and broke, and alone, and apparently now a target for whoever wants to hurt you. The reality of it was starting to sink in. This is insane. 2 days ago, my biggest worry was whether I'd have enough money for groceries. Now I'm worried about being killed by professional assassins. Minjun's expression softened. I won't let that happen. I swear to you, Kendra. No one will hurt you. How can you promise that? Because anyone who tries to hurt you will have to go through me first. He stood, crossing to stand in front of her. And I've spent 15 years making sure that going through me is the last thing anyone wants to do. He was close enough that she could smell his cologne, something expensive and woodsy with hints of bergamot. Close enough to see the scar along his jawline, barely visible unless you knew to look for it. I'm offering you a choice, he said quietly. You can refuse my protection and go back to your life. I'll have my people watch from a distance, but I won't interfere. Or you can accept my help. Let me keep you safe properly. What does properly mean? It means you move into a secure apartment. One of my buildings, with guards and cameras. It means you quit that restaurant job. I'll compensate you for lost wages. It means anytime you leave that apartment, you have protection. That's not a life. That's a prison. It's temporary. Until I find who's responsible and eliminate the threat. Kendra looked down at Hana, who had fallen asleep in her arms. This tiny, perfect baby who'd almost died in a freezer. Who would have died if Kendra hadn't listened to that strange sound? If I agree to this, she said slowly, I want conditions. Minjun's eyebrows rose. Conditions? I don't want to be locked up like Rapunzel. I need to be able to go outside, see my friends, have a life. I'll accept protection, but I won't accept being suffocated. That's fair. And I want to keep working toward nursing school. If I can't work at the restaurant, fine. But I need to be doing something productive. I can arrange for you to take classes, online, if necessary. And I want. She hesitated, then forged ahead. I want to see Hana sometimes, make sure she's okay. Something flickered across his face. Surprise, maybe. Or pleasure. You want to see my daughter? I know it sounds weird, but after last night, I feel connected to her. I saved her life. And now I need to know she's thriving. That she's happy and healthy and safe. That doesn't sound weird at all. His voice was rough. That sounds like exactly the kind of person you are. He held out his hand. Do we have a deal? Kendra looked at that offered hand. Taking it would change everything. Would pull her into a world of danger and luxury and complications she couldn't even imagine. But the alternative was going back to her tiny apartment and hoping assassins didn't come for her in the night. She shifted Hana carefully to one arm and shook Minjun's hand. His grip was warm, strong, possessive. We have a deal, she said. And just like that, Kendra Williams's ordinary life ended and something extraordinary began. The protection phase, forced proximity. The secure apartment was a 3-bedroom penthouse in one of Minjun's buildings in Streeterville. Kendra stood in the entrance, her mouth hanging open. This is too much. This is adequate, Dongwook corrected. He'd been assigned as her primary guard, a role he took with military seriousness. Mr. Kang insisted on something appropriate. Appropriate. The living room alone was bigger than her entire Pilsen apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered views of Navy Pier and the lake. The kitchen had marble countertops and appliances that looked like they belonged in a spaceship. The master bedroom had a bed roughly the size of her old studio apartment. I can't accept this. You already did. You shook hands with Mr. Kang. Dongwook set down her single suitcase. Everything she owned fit in one bag, which was somehow embarrassing. The guards will be posted in the hallway and lobby. You have panic buttons installed in every room. Press them if you need immediate assistance. This is insane. This is necessary. His expression softened slightly. Miss Williams, I know this is overwhelming, but Mr. Kang takes the safety of those under his protection very seriously, especially someone who saved his daughter's life. After Dong-wook left, Kendra wandered through the apartment in a daze. The closets were full of clothes in her size. How had they known her size? In styles she'd never be able to afford normally. The bathroom had a tub you could swim in. The second bedroom had been set up as a study, complete with a top-of-the-line computer and nursing textbooks. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Is everything to your satisfaction? MJ. She typed back. This is way too much. It's adequate. Have you eaten? Not yet. Mrs. Cho will bring dinner at 7. She's Hana's nanny. I thought you might like to see the baby. Kendra's heart jumped. I'd love that. Good. See you at 7. Wait. He was coming too? She looked down at her jeans and old Northwestern sweatshirt. If Minjun was coming to dinner, she should probably change into something nicer. Not that it mattered. This wasn't a date. This was just... What? Her mob boss protector checking on his investment? God. Her life had gotten weird. At exactly 7 p.m., the doorbell rang. Kendra opened it to find Mrs. Cho, an older Korean woman with kind eyes, carrying Hana in a baby carrier. Behind her stood Minjun, holding bags of food. Miss Williams, Mrs. Cho said in accented English. So nice to meet the woman who saved our Hana. Please, call me Kendra. Mrs. Cho beamed and immediately started setting up a portable bassinet she'd brought. Mr. Kang said you wanted to see the baby. I bring everything you need. Bottles, diapers, toys. You spend time with her, yes? I'd love to. Minjun carried the food to the kitchen. He'd changed from this morning. Now he wore dark jeans and a black sweater that hugged his frame in ways that made Kendra's mouth go dry. His hair was slightly damp, like he'd recently showered. Stop it, she told herself. He's a criminal, a dangerous man. You can't be attracted to him. Except she was. Undeniably, inconveniently attracted. I brought Korean food, he said, unpacking containers. I wasn't sure what you liked, so I got a variety. Bulgogi, japchae, kimchi, jjigae, bibimbap. You didn't have to do all this. I wanted to. He met her eyes. You're doing me a favor by accepting my protection. The least I can do is feed you. Mrs. Cho excused herself after getting Hana settled, promising to return in 2 hours, which left Kendra alone with Minjun and the baby. They ate at the dining table, a ridiculous piece of furniture that could seat 12. Minjun explained each dish, showing her how to wrap the bulgogi in lettuce, warning her about the spice level of the kimchi jjigae. This is delicious, Kendra said, trying the bibimbap. Did you make this? God, no. I can barely boil water. He smiled, and the expression transformed his face. I had it delivered from my favorite restaurant. The owner is the aunt of one of my associates. Is everything in your life connected to your business? His smile faded. Most things, yes. It's difficult to maintain relationships outside the organization. People either fear me or want to use me. He paused. You're one of the few people who's managed to do neither. I'm terrified of you, Kendra admitted. I'm just better at hiding it than most people. You shouldn't be terrified. You run a criminal empire. You've probably killed people. Your enemies literally tried to murder your baby daughter. Why wouldn't I be terrified? He was quiet for a long moment, turning his chopsticks over in his hands. I won't lie to you, Kendra. I'm not a good man. I've done things that would horrify you. Built my empire on fear and blood and calculated violence. He looked up, and his eyes were raw. But I've never hurt an innocent person. Never harmed someone who didn't pose a direct threat. And I protect the people I care about with everything I have. Do you care about me? The question slipped out before she could stop it. Yes. No hesitation. You saved my daughter's life. That makes you precious to me. And the more time I spend with you. He trailed off, shaking his head. This probably isn't appropriate. What isn't appropriate? The way I'm starting to feel about you. Kendra's heart hammered. Min-yun. Hana chose that moment to start crying. They both jumped up, grateful for the interruption. Minjun reached the bassinet first, lifting his daughter with practiced ease. Shh, Ajiya, he murmured in Korean. What's wrong, Kendra watched him sway gently, his large hands cradling the tiny baby with infinite care. The contrast between the dangerous crime lord and the tender father was stark, and somehow devastatingly attractive. She might need to be changed, Kendra offered. I've got it. But when he laid Hana on the changing pad Mrs. Cho had set up, he fumbled with the diaper. Here, let me. Kendra stepped in, showing him how to properly fasten the tabs. You have to make sure it's snug but not too tight. I'm terrible at this, he admitted. Mrs. Cho usually handles everything. I'm better with business than babies. You're doing fine. Being a parent isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up and trying. Their hands brushed as they worked together, and electricity shot up Kendra's arm. She glanced up and found him watching her with that intense gaze that made her feel simultaneously exposed and cherished. Thank you, he said softly. Not just for saving her. For this. For treating me like a person instead of a monster. You're not a monster. Kendra, you don't know. I know enough. She finished with the diaper and picked up Hana. I know you love your daughter. I know you're trying to protect me even though you barely know me. I know you've been nothing but respectful and kind since we met. That doesn't erase the blood on my hands. Maybe not. But it shows me who you are beneath all that. She held his gaze. And I think the man beneath all that blood is probably pretty amazing. He moved closer, his hand coming up to cup her cheek. His touch was gentle, reverent, like she was something precious that might break. You're dangerous, he murmured. Me? I'm a broke waitress with big dreams and no common sense. You're the one who's dangerous. No. His thumb stroked her cheekbone. You're dangerous to me, because you make me want things I can't have. Make me believe I could be the man you see, instead of the one I am. Minjun. He kissed her. It was soft at first, questioning. His lips moved against hers carefully, giving her time to pull away. But Kendra didn't want to pull away. She wanted to lean in, to lose herself in the warmth of his mouth and the strength of his arms. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Hana was watching them with solemn eyes. She's judging us, Kendra whispered. Minjun laughed, the sound surprised and genuine. She has excellent judgment then. I shouldn't have kissed you. Why not? Because I can't give you what you deserve. Can't offer you a normal life with a normal man. Can't promise you safety or simplicity, or any of the things you should have. What if I don't want those things? What if I want? She trailed off, not quite brave enough to finish. What do you want, Kendra? You, she almost said. I want you. But Hana started crying again, and the moment shattered. Minjun took his daughter, rocking her gently. I should go. Mrs. Cho will be here soon to collect Hana. Okay. He hesitated at the door, Hana cradled against his shoulder. Kendra, I meant what I said. About protecting you. About... He shook his head. I'll see you tomorrow? Tomorrow, she agreed. After he left, Kendra collapsed on the couch, her fingers touching her lips. She'd just kissed Kang Minjun, a mob boss, a dangerous criminal. And God help her. She wanted to do it again. Cross-cultural connection and growing intimacy. The next 2 weeks fell into a pattern. Minjun visited every evening, always bringing dinner, always bringing Hana. He taught Kendra Korean phrases while she taught him words in Swahili her grandmother had taught her. They discovered a shared love of old movies and spent 3 hours one night debating whether Casablanca or The Godfather was the better film. The irony of you defending The Godfather, Kendra teased. A mafia boss who loves a mafia movie. It's a classic study in family loyalty and honor, Minjun protested. The violence is incidental. The violence is literally central to the plot. So is love. Michael destroys everything trying to protect his family. Kendra went quiet. Is that what you're doing? Destroying everything to protect Hana? His expression shuddered. If necessary, yes. She reached across the table and took his hand. Have you found who did it yet? Who put her in the freezer? We're close. One of my associates identified a pattern in restaurant deliveries that day. Someone new on the staff, hired the week before through a temp agency. We're tracking them down now. And when you find them, they'll never hurt anyone again. The cold certainty in his voice should have frightened her. But thinking about someone deliberately putting a baby in a freezer to freeze to death, Kendra found she couldn't summon much sympathy. Good, she said. He squeezed her hand. Thank you for understanding. I don't understand your world, Minjun, but I understand protecting the people you love. They stared at each other across the table, the word love hanging between them. Kendra, Hana started crying from her bassinet, and they both laughed at the timing. She has impeccable timing, Minjun said, going to pick her up. Babies know when the adults are about to have an important conversation. He settled back on the couch with Hana, and Kendra curled up beside him. It felt natural now, the three of them together like this, almost like a family. Tell me about Hana's mother, Kendra said softly. Minjun tensed. Why? Because she's part of who Hana is, part of your story. He was quiet for so long, Kendra thought he might not answer. Finally, her name was Park Ji-won. She was the daughter of another organization leader. Our marriage was arranged an alliance between families. You didn't love her? I respected her, cared for her. We were building something that might have become love, given time. His jaw tightened. But 3 months after Hana was born, Ji-won was killed in an ambush meant for me. Wrong place, wrong time. I'm so sorry. I failed to protect her, failed to see the threat coming, and Hana lost her mother because of my mistakes. Kendra's heart ached for him. It wasn't your fault, wasn't it? My life, my choices, they killed her. The people who ambushed you killed her. You didn't pull the trigger. I might as well have. He looked down at Hana. Sometimes I see Ji-won in her face. The same eyes, the same stubborn chin. It's like Ji-won is still here, watching me try to be a father and probably judging how badly I'm failing. You're not failing. Hana is healthy and happy and loved. That's all a child needs. She needs a mother. The words hung between them, weighted with implication. Mrs. Cho is wonderful with her, Kendra said carefully. Mrs. Cho is a nanny, not a mother. He shifted Hana to his shoulder. Hana needs someone who loves her unconditionally, who would fight for her, protect her, choose her above everything else. Someone like the woman who pulled her from a freezer? His eyes met hers. Yes, someone exactly like that. Kendra's breath caught. Minjun, what are you saying? I'm saying that in 2 weeks, you've become essential to both of us. Hana lights up when she sees you. He trailed off, shaking his head. This is insane. I've known you 14 days. 15, Kendra corrected. If you count the night at the restaurant. 15 days. And I can't stop thinking about you. Can't imagine my life without you in it. Can't. He stopped, seeming to catch himself. I'm sorry. This is too much. Too fast. What if I don't think it's too fast? Kendra, you deserve better than this. Better than me. Stop deciding what I deserve. She shifted closer. I'm a grown woman. I can make my own choices. And what do you choose? She looked at him, this powerful, dangerous man holding his baby daughter so gently. This crime lord who kissed her like she was precious. This father who would burn the world down to protect his child. I choose to see where this goes, she said. I choose to stop fighting what I'm feeling and just feel it. And what are you feeling? Scared, excited, like I'm standing on the edge of a cliff about to jump. She touched his face. Like maybe I'm falling in love with you. He made a sound low in his throat and kissed her, careful of the baby between them. The kiss was deep and hungry, full of promises and possibilities. When they broke apart, Hana was fast asleep, completely unbothered by her father kissing the woman who'd saved her life. She approves, Kendra whispered. She has excellent judgment. Minjun rested his forehead against Kendra's. I'm going to do this right, court you properly, not rush you into anything. What if I want to be rushed? His laugh was pained. You're killing me. Good. You deserve to suffer a little. They stayed like that, foreheads pressed together, until Mrs. Cho arrived to collect Hana. The nanny took one look at them and smiled knowingly. Young love, she said in Korean, which Minjun later translated. It's beautiful to see. After they left, Kendra touched her lips, still tingling from his kiss. She was falling in love with a mob boss. Her life had officially become a movie, and somehow, she didn't want to change a single thing. The crisis. Threat revealed. The attack came on a Wednesday night. Kendra had just finished an online nursing lecture when the power went out. Not just in her apartment, the entire building went dark. Her phone buzzed immediately. Dong-wook. Stay in your apartment. Lock the door. Do not open it for anyone except me or Mr. Kang. Kendra's heart hammered as she fumbled for the panic button Minjun had installed. She pressed it twice, then grabbed the baseball bat he'd also left, just in case. Footsteps in the hallway. Multiple people moving fast. Gunshots. Kendra screamed and dove behind the couch. More gunshots, shouting in Korean and English. Something heavy hit her door. The sound of running feet. Then silence. Kendra! Minjun's voice, sharp with panic. Kendra, open the door! She recognized his voice but was too terrified to move. It's me, ne sarang. It's Minjun. You're safe. The endearment, my love, broke through her fear. She stumbled to the door, fumbled with the locks, and yanked it open. Minjun stood there in all black, gun still in his hand. Blood splattered across his face and shirt. Behind him, 4 bodies lay in the hallway. Oh my God. He holstered his gun and pulled her into his arms. You're okay? You're okay. What happened? Who? The people who tried to kill Hana. They found you. His hands ran over her frantically, checking for injuries. Did they get in? Did anyone hurt you? No, I locked the door like Dongwook said. Good girl. He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. So good. More of his men appeared, cleaning up the bodies with efficiency that suggested they'd done this many times before. Kendra tried not to look, tried not to think about the fact that 4 people had just died in her hallway. We need to move you, Minjun said. This location is compromised. Move me where? My house. It's the most secure location I have. Minjun, I can't. They almost got to you. His voice cracked. If I hadn't been close, if my men hadn't responded fast enough, they would have broken down that door and... He couldn't finish the sentence, but they didn't. I'm okay. This time, he cupped her face in his hands. I can't lose you, Kendra. I can't. You and Hana are everything to me, and the thought of something happening to you. She kissed him, cutting off his words. Okay, I'll go to your house. His house turned out to be a mansion in Lake Forest, 30 minutes north of Chicago, surrounded by gates and guards and enough security to protect a president. The interior was surprisingly warm, hardwood floors, comfortable furniture, photos of Hana everywhere. This was a home, not just a showcase. Hana's room is upstairs, Minjun said, leading her through. Mrs. Cho stays in the guest house. Your room is... He hesitated. You can have the guest room, or you can stay with me. His eyes were vulnerable. I won't pressure you, but after tonight, I need you close. Need to know you're safe. Kendra thought about sleeping alone in a strange room, jumping at every sound, about waking up from nightmares with no one to hold her. I'll stay with you. Relief flooded his face. Thank you. His bedroom was masculine, but not cold. A huge bed with soft gray linens, windows overlooking the grounds, a fireplace that crackled with warmth. He gave her privacy to change into the clothes his staff had hastily packed from her apartment. When she came out of the bathroom wearing yoga pants and an old t-shirt, he was sitting on the edge of the bed in just black boxer briefs, his muscled torso bare. Kendra's mouth went dry. I sleep like this, he said, almost apologetic. But I can put on a shirt if it makes you uncomfortable. It's fine. More than fine. God, he was beautiful. Lean muscle and smooth skin marked with scars that told stories she probably didn't want to know. They climbed into bed, maintaining a careful distance at first. But within minutes, Minjun pulled her against his chest. Is this okay? He murmured against her hair. Perfect. His arms tightened around her. I was terrified tonight. When I got the panic button alert, all I could think was that I was too late. That they'd gotten to you and I'd lost you before I even had you. But you weren't too late. You saved me. I shouldn't have to keep saving you. You should be safe. Should have a normal life with a normal man who doesn't bring danger to your door. Kendra turned in his arms to face him. I don't want a normal man. I want you. Kendra, I love you. The words tumbled out before she could stop them. I know it's insane. I know we've only known each other a few weeks, but I love you, Minjun. I love the way you are with Hana. I love how you try to protect everyone. I love that beneath all the danger and violence, you're just a man trying to do right by the people you care about. His eyes shone with unshed tears. I love you too. So much it terrifies me. You've turned my whole world upside down. He kissed her then, deep and claiming. His hands roamed her body, and she arched into his touch. Minjun, she breathed. Tell me what you need. You, all of you. He groaned against her mouth. Are you sure? Because once we do this, there's no going back. You'll be mine, Kendra. Completely. I'm already yours. They made love slowly, carefully. He worshipped every inch of her body, making her feel cherished and desired. When he finally entered her, they both gasped at the perfection of it. I love you, he whispered as he moved inside her. My brave, beautiful Kendra. I love you too. Their climax built together, wave after wave of pleasure cresting until they both shattered. Afterwards, wrapped in his arms, Kendra felt complete. "Marry me," Minjun said into the darkness. Kendra's breath caught. "What?" "Marry me. Be Hana's mother officially. Let me protect you and love you for the rest of our lives." "Minjun, this is crazy." "I know, but I also know I don't want to spend another day without you. Know that you're the best thing that's ever happened to me and Hana. Know that I want to wake up next to you every morning for the rest of my life." He pulled back to look at her. "So marry me, Kendra Williams. Make me the happiest and luckiest man alive." She should say no. Should point out all the logical reasons this was a terrible idea. Instead, she said, "Yes." His smile was brighter than the sun. "Yes? Yes, I'll marry you. I'll be Hana's mother. I'll be yours." He kissed her deeply, sealing the promise. And Kendra knew, despite all the danger and uncertainty, this was exactly where she was meant to be. Resolution. Family forged in fire. The wedding happened 3 weeks later in Minjun's mansion garden. Small, intimate, perfect. Kendra wore a dress that blended Korean and Nigerian traditions, white silk hanbok with Ankara fabric accents. Minjun wore traditional Korean wedding attire, looking like a prince from a fairy tale. Hana was there in a matching hanbok, carried by Mrs. Cho. Shanice stood as maid of honor, still somewhat shell-shocked that her best friend was marrying a mob boss. Dongwook was best man, having become unexpectedly fond of both Kendra and Hana. The officiant was Korean, speaking in both Korean and English about the bonds between souls and the courage it takes to love fearlessly. When it came time for vows, Minjun took Kendra's hands. "You saved my daughter's life," he said, voice thick with emotion. "And in doing so, you saved mine too. I was dead before I met you, Kendra. Walking and breathing, but not truly living. You taught me how to feel again, how to hope, how to believe I could be more than just the sum of my sins." He brought her hand to his lips. "I promise to love you every day, to protect you with everything I have, to be worthy of the incredible gift you've given me, your trust, your love, your future. You are my heart, my home, my everything." Kendra's tears flowed freely as she spoke her own vows. "I should have been terrified of you, should have run the moment I learned what you were. But instead, I saw who you really are beneath the armor you wear. A father who would die for his daughter. A man capable of incredible gentleness and fierce loyalty. Someone worthy of love, even if you don't always believe it." She squeezed his hands. "I promise to stand beside you through everything, to be Hana's mother in every way that matters. To remind you that you're more than your worst moments. You are mine, Minjun, and I am yours. Forever." "Forever," he repeated. They kissed as husband and wife while their small gathering cheered. At the reception, Kendra danced with her new husband while Hana watched from Mrs. Cho's arms, clapping her tiny hands. "Happy?" Minjun asked, pulling her close. "Deliriously." "You?" "More than I ever thought possible." He kissed her forehead. "Thank you for taking a chance on a dangerous man with a complicated life. Thank you for seeing me, for loving me, for making me part of your family." "Our family," he corrected. "You, me, and Hana. That's all that matters." Later, after the guests left and Hana was asleep, Minjun carried Kendra to their bedroom. "Mrs. Kang," he said, laying her on the bed. "I like the sound of that." "So do I." She pulled him down for a kiss. "Now come here and show me how much you love me." He did, thoroughly and repeatedly, until they both collapsed in an exhausted, satisfied heap. "I found them," Minjun said later, stroking her hair as she lay against his chest. "The people who tried to kill Hana, the ones who sent assassins after you." Kendra tensed. "And? They're gone. All of them. They'll never threaten our family again." She should feel guilty, should be horrified by the violence, but all she felt was relief. "Good." He kissed the top of her head. "You're bloodthirsty, Mrs. Kang. Only when it comes to protecting the people I love. Then we're well matched." Epilogue. 3 years later, Kendra stood in the doorway of the nursery, watching Minjun change their son's diaper, while Hana, now 3.5, provided helpful commentary. "Appa, you're doing it wrong," Hana said in a mix of Korean and English. "The tabs go like this. I know how to change a diaper, sweetheart. I changed yours plenty of times. Mama does it better. Mama does everything better." Minjun agreed, catching Kendra's eye and winking. Their son, James Minjun Kang, named for Kendra's father, gurgled happily on the changing table. At 6 months old, he had Kendra's warm brown skin and Minjun's dark eyes, He was perfect. Kendra had graduated from nursing school while pregnant with James. Minjun had thrown her a party that rivaled some weddings, inviting half of Chicago to celebrate. Now she worked part-time at a community health clinic Minjun had built in her old neighborhood, helping people who couldn't afford regular health care. "Mama!" Hana ran to hug her legs. "Can we have ice cream for breakfast?" "Nice try, baby girl. But how about pancakes instead? Korean pancakes or American pancakes?" "Both. We'll make both." Hana cheered and ran toward the kitchen, leaving Minjun finishing with James. "She played you," he said, joining Kendra in the doorway with their son. "She knows you can't resist when she asks in that voice. Like you can resist when she looks at you with those big eyes." "Fair point." He kissed her softly. "Good morning, Mrs. Kang." "Good morning, Mr. Kang." She took James, snuggling him close. "How did you sleep?" "Barely. James was up 3 times. I didn't want to wake you." "You should have. We're partners, remember?" "I remember. I also remember that you have a shift at the clinic today and needed rest." This was her life now. A husband who worshipped her. 2 beautiful children. A home filled with love and laughter. Yes, there was still danger there always would be with Minjun's background. But he'd continued transitioning his businesses toward legitimacy, and the threats had become fewer and further between. In the kitchen, they made pancakes together while Hana helped, and James watched from his high chair. It was chaotic and loud and messy and absolutely perfect. "I was thinking," Minjun said as he flipped a pancake, "maybe we should have one more." Kendra laughed. "One more what, child? We literally just had James." "I know. But I like our family. Like watching it grow. Ask me again in 2 years when I've had some sleep." He pulled her close, careful of the spatula in his hand. "I love you. Have I mentioned that today?" "Only about 12 times, but I never get tired of hearing it." "I love you," he said again. "Thank you for saving my daughter. For saving me. For building this life with me. I love you too." She kissed him softly. "Now stop burning the pancakes and feed your family." As they sat down to breakfast, Hana chattering about preschool, James babbling in his high chair, Minjun holding Kendra's hand under the table. She thought about that night 3 years ago. A crying baby in a freezer. A desperate father arriving in tears. A simple act of kindness that changed everything. Who knew that finding an abandoned baby would lead her to the love of her life? That pulling a freezing infant from danger would give her a family she'd always dreamed of. Sometimes the most terrifying moments lead to the most beautiful outcomes. Sometimes love finds you in the darkest, coldest places. And sometimes, saving someone else is exactly how you save yourself. "What are you thinking about?" Minjun asked, squeezing her hand. "How I found a baby in a freezer and gained everything." He smiled, that devastating smile that still made her heart race. "We found each other. The rest was inevitable." "Was it?" "Absolutely. You're my fate, Kendra Kang. My destiny. The moment you saved Hana, you became mine. Forever." "Forever," she agreed. And as their children laughed and their home filled with warmth, Kendra knew that no matter how it started in danger and cold and fear, their story had become something beautiful. A love forged in fire. A family built on bravery. A happily ever after that began with the simple sound of a baby crying in a freezer. And a woman brave enough to investigate. 3 years later, continued, the morning sun streamed through the windows of their Lake Forest mansion as Kendra cleaned syrup off James's face. He'd managed to get it in his hair somehow, a feat that required genuine talent. "How do you even do this?" she asked him, wiping his curls. "The pancakes were on your plate, not your head." James giggled, showing off his 2 bottom teeth. He looked so much like Minjun when he smiled that Kendra's heart squeezed. "Mama, can I go to Sammy's house today?" Hana asked, swinging her legs under the table. Sammy was her best friend from preschool, the daughter of one of the families in their gated community. "We'll see, baby. I have to work at the clinic this afternoon. Appa can take me." Hana turned her hopeful eyes on Minjun, who was reading something on his phone with a furrowed brow. He looked up, and whatever he'd been reading disappeared as he focused on his daughter. "What did you say, princess? Can you take me to Sammy's house?" "Of course. After Mama leaves for work, we'll call Mrs. Anderson and see if Sammy is free." He reached over and tucked a strand of Hana's hair behind her ear. "But first, you need to finish your breakfast." Kendra watched the exchange with a soft smile. Minjun had changed so much in 3 years. He was still dangerous when he needed to be. She'd be a fool to think otherwise, but fatherhood and love had softened his edges in the most beautiful ways. Her phone buzzed. A text from her colleague at the clinic. "Hey girl, we have a huge influx this morning. Any chance you can come in early?" Kendra glanced at Min Yoon, who was now engaged in a serious conversation with Hana about whether dinosaurs or dragons were cooler. She texted back, "Give me 45 minutes. "Duty calls?" Min Yoon asked, somehow aware of her message without looking up. "The clinic is swamped. Do you mind if I head in early?" "Of course not." He stood, coming around to kiss her forehead. "You go help people. We'll hold down the fort here. You have meetings today too, don't you? Nothing that can't be rescheduled or handled via video call." His hand cupped her cheek. "Your work is important, Kendra. Those people need you." This was another change. 3 years ago, Min Yoon would have insisted she skip work, would have worried about her safety every second she was away from his protection. Now, he understood that she needed purpose beyond being a wife and mother, that helping her community mattered to her soul. Of course, he'd also hired 3 discreet bodyguards who followed her everywhere, but that was a compromise she could live with. The Pilsen Community Health Clinic was exactly what its name suggested, a small medical facility serving the predominantly Latino neighborhood where Kendra used to live. Min Yoon had funded its construction anonymously, though Kendra suspected everyone knew exactly where the money came from. Kendra, Maria, the receptionist, waved frantically when she walked in. "Thank God you're here. We have 23 people in the waiting room, and Dr. Okafor is running behind." 23? What happened? Flu outbreak at the elementary school. Every parent in a 3-block radius brought their kids in. Maria handed her a stack of charts. "Also, Mrs. Chen is in room 3 asking for you specifically. Says she'll only see the nice nurse who speaks slowly." Kendra smiled. Mrs. Chen was one of her favorite patients, a 7-8-year-old Chinese woman who'd lived in Pilsen for 50 years but still struggled with English. "I'll see her first." The next 4 hours passed in a blur of thermometers, tongue depressors, and patient Spanish phrases. Kendra had learned medical Spanish out of necessity. Most of her patients were more comfortable in their native language. "La fiebre debería bajar en 24 horas," she told the worried mother of a 6-year-old with the flu. "Plenty of fluids, rest, and children's Tylenol for the fever. If it goes above 103 or lasts more than 3 days, bring him back. Gracias, enfermera. Muchas gracias." Between patients, Kendra checked her phone. Min Yoon had sent photos. Hana and Sammy building a blanket fort. James asleep in his father's arms. A selfie of Min Yoon making a silly face that made her laugh out loud. "Missing you already," his text read. "Come home soon. Still have 3 hours. Behave yourself. Always. Love you." She was smiling when Dr. Okafor poked his head into the nurse's station. "You're glowing, Kendra. Either you're pregnant again or you just checked your phone." "Definitely the phone. And don't even joke about pregnancy. James is only 6 months old. I've seen the way your husband looks at you. I'd give it another year max before baby number 3. Kendra threw a pen at him, which he dodged with a laugh. But later, during her lunch break, she couldn't help thinking about it. Another baby. The idea should have been overwhelming. They already had their hands full. But instead, it made her heart warm. She'd always wanted a big family. 4 or 5 kids. She used to dream before her parents died, and reality crushed those hopes. Now, married to a man who would give her anything she asked for, who loved being a father, who had the resources to support a dozen children. Maybe it wasn't such a crazy idea after all. Kendra arrived home around 5 p.m. to find controlled chaos. Hana and Sammy were indeed in a blanket fort in the living room, giggling about something. Mrs. Cho was in the kitchen cooking dinner, humming a Korean folk song, and Min Yoon was in his office on a video call, James in a baby carrier strapped to his chest. Through the open door, she could hear him speaking Korean rapid-fire and authoritative. She recognized a few words now after 3 years. Business, profit, agreement. His legitimate business empire had grown exponentially, though Kendra suspected some of his ventures still operated in moral gray areas. She didn't ask too many questions about his work. Some things were better left unknown. James spotted her first and made happy noises, alerting Min Yoon to her presence. He glanced up, his expression transforming from cold businessman to warm husband in an instant. "I need to go," he said to whoever was on the call. "We'll continue this tomorrow." He ended the call without waiting for a response and stood crossing to kiss her. "How was the clinic?" "Exhausting. Flu season is hitting hard." She took James from the carrier, snuggling him close. "How was your day with the kids?" "Perfect. Hana is a natural leader. She had Sammy and me following her orders all afternoon. James took a 2-hour nap, which I also took advantage of. And I managed to close 3 deals while wearing a baby. Show off. Productive multitasker, he corrected with a grin. Dinner will be ready in 30 minutes. Mrs. Cho made your favorite bulgogi and japchae. She's trying to fatten me up. She's trying to make you happy. There's a difference. He pulled her close, careful of James between them. I missed you today. You saw me 6 hours ago. 6 hours too long. He kissed her softly. Every moment you're not here feels empty. Even after 3 years of marriage, his declarations of love still made her melt. You're such a romantic. Only for you. Hana burst from the blanket fort, Sammy in tow. Mama! We built a castle and Sammy is the princess and I'm the knight protecting her from dragons. That's wonderful, baby. Did you have fun? So much fun. Can Sammy stay for dinner? Please, please, please? Minjun was already texting Mrs. Anderson. If her mother says yes, then yes. The answer came quickly. Mrs. Anderson was grateful for the break and would pick Sammy up after dinner. They ate together in the dining room, the table set with Mrs. Cho's usual precision. Hana and Sammy chattered about dragons and princesses, while James threw rice cereal everywhere. Minjun kept his hand on Kendra's thigh under the table. A constant connection. This was her life now. Messy dinners with children and friends. A husband who looked at her like she hung the moon. A home filled with laughter and love, and the blend of 2 cultures that somehow worked perfectly. After dinner, while Minjun handled bath time for both girls, Kendra took James to the nursery for his bedtime routine. She changed him, fed him, rocked him while singing the same lullaby her mother used to sing to her. Hush, little baby. Don't say a word. Mama's gonna buy you a mockingbird. James's eyes fluttered closed. His tiny hand curled around her finger. Kendra felt the familiar tightness in her chest, love so intense it physically hurt. You're so loved, little man, she whispered. By me, by your appa, by your big sister. You're going to grow up knowing exactly how precious you are. A sound at the door made her look up. Minjun leaned against the frame, watching them with soft eyes. How long have you been standing there? Long enough. He crossed the room, kissing James's forehead and then hers. You're beautiful like this. Natural mother. I learned from watching you with Hana. We learned together. He helped her place James in his crib, tucking the blanket around him. Sammy's mother just picked her up. Hannah is in bed. Mrs. Cho went to her cottage. We're alone. The way he said, alone, made heat pool in Kendra's belly. Alone is good. Alone is very good. He took her hand, leading her to their bedroom. They'd made love countless times in 3 years, but it never got old. Minjun still touched her like she was precious, like he couldn't believe she was his. And Kendra still felt that electric thrill every time his hands roamed her body. Tonight was slow and deep. He took his time undressing her, kissing every inch of skin he revealed. When he finally entered her, they both sighed at the perfection of it. I love you, he murmured against her neck. My wife, my heart, my everything. I love you too. She arched into him, meeting his rhythm. Show me how much. He did, thoroughly and repeatedly, until they both collapsed in a satisfied heap. Later, wrapped in his arms, Kendra broached the subject that had been on her mind. Minjun? He was half asleep, his fingers drawing patterns on her shoulder. What would you think about having another baby? His hand stilled. Another baby? I know James is still so young, and we're already busy, but I always wanted a big family, and you're such an amazing father. And Hana keeps asking for another sibling. He pulled back to look at her face. You want another baby? Maybe. Eventually. I know it's a lot. Yes. Yes? Yes. I want another baby with you. And another one after that if you want. I'd give you 10 children if that's what would make you happy. Kendra laughed. Let's start with 3 and see how we feel. 3 is a good number. He kissed her deeply. When do you want to start trying? Maybe in a few months? Give James a little more time. Let me get through flu season at the clinic. Or, Minjun said, rolling on top of her with a wicked grin, we could start practicing now. You know, to make sure we remember how it's done. We literally just finished. He kissed her, cutting off her protest. I'm very dedicated to this practice. They made love again, this time with the added excitement of possibility. Every touch carried the weight of potential. Another baby. Another addition to their growing family. The challenge. Old ghosts. 2 weeks later, Kendra was at the clinic when Maria hurried into the exam room where she was checking a patient's blood pressure. "Kendra, there's someone here to see you. Says it's urgent." "I'm with a patient. She says she's family. Korean woman. Very insistent." Kendra's stomach dropped. Minjun's family? She'd met his parents exactly twice. Both times had been tense affairs where his mother made it clear a Black American woman wasn't what she'd envisioned for her son's second marriage. "Tell her I'll be out in 15 minutes. But when Kendra finished with her patient and stepped into the waiting room, it wasn't Minjun's mother. It was a woman about her age, beautiful in that effortless way some people had, wearing expensive clothes and an expression of barely concealed disdain. "You're Kendra Kang?" the woman asked in accented English. "Yes, and you are Park Ji-won's sister, Lee Soo-jin." She said it like Kendra should know the name. "I need to speak with you about Hana." Every protective instinct Kendra had roared to life. "What about Hana?" "Not here. Somewhere private." Kendra glanced at Maria, who looked concerned. "I'm taking my break. If Mr. Kang calls, tell him I'll call him back in 20 minutes. She led Soo-jin to the small office the staff used for breaks. Once the door closed, Kendra crossed her arms. "What's this about? You're not Hana's real mother." The words were meant to wound, and they did. But Kendra had been married to a crime lord for 3 years. She'd learned how to hide pain. "I'm the mother who raises her, loves her, and would die for her. That's real enough. My sister gave birth to her. My sister should be raising her. Your sister is dead. I'm sorry for your loss, but that doesn't change reality." Soo-jin's composure cracked slightly. "Do you have any idea what it's like? Watching my niece call another woman mama? Seeing photos of her at Korean holidays with you in Ji-won's place?" Kendra's anger softened into sympathy. "I can't imagine how painful that must be. But Hana needs a mother. She needs someone who's there every day, not just for holidays. I'm not trying to replace your sister. I could never do that. But I love Hana like she's my own. Minjun should have married someone from our community. Someone who understands our culture, our traditions. Minjun chose me, and I'm learning Korean culture, learning the language, cooking the food, teaching Hana about her heritage. It's not the same. No, it's not. But it's real, and it's ours, and it works for our family." Soo-jin was quiet for a long moment. "I want to be part of Hana's life. I'm her aunt, her blood. Then talk to Minjun. I'm sure we can arrange visits." "I tried. He won't return my calls, won't let me see her." That didn't sound like Minjun. "Unless, why won't he let you see her?" Soo-jin looked away. "My family blamed him for Ji-won's death, said terrible things, threatened him. My father even tried to take Hana away through the courts." "Oh, that explained a lot. That must have been very painful for everyone involved. We were grieving. We said things we didn't mean. Did you mean them at the time?" Soo-jin met her eyes. "Yes. At least she was honest." "I can't make decisions about Hana without Minjun," Kendra said carefully. "But I can talk to him. See if he's willing to consider supervised visits." "Supervised? I'm her aunt, not a criminal. You're also part of a family that tried to take her away from her father. You can understand why he'd be cautious." Soo-jin stood abruptly. "I shouldn't have come here. This was a mistake." "Wait." Kendra pulled out her phone. "Give me your number. I'll talk to Minjun tonight. I can't promise anything, but I'll try." "Why would you help me? I've been nothing but rude to you." "Because Hana deserves to know her mother's family. Because grief makes people do things they regret. And because I know what it's like to lose the people you love and feel powerless." She held out her phone. "Your number?" Soo-jin entered it slowly. "Thank you." After she left, Kendra sat in the office, trying to process what just happened. She should call Minjun immediately, tell him about the ambush, but something made her hesitate. This was delicate. Family, grief, complicated history. She needed to think about how to approach it carefully. That night, after the children were asleep, Kendra found Minjun in his study reviewing contracts. "Can we talk?" He looked up immediately, sensing her serious tone. "Of course. What's wrong?" She told him about Soo-jin's visit, watching his expression go from concerned to angry to carefully blank. "She had no right to approach you at your workplace. She's grieving, Minjun, and she wants to know her niece. She and her family tried to destroy me. Told the courts I was an unfit father because of my business. Hired private investigators to dig up dirt. Threatened to leak information that would have gotten people killed." His hands clenched. They didn't care about Hana. They cared about punishing me for Jiwon's death. That was 3 years ago. People change. Not those people. Kendra moved to sit on his lap, framing his face with her hands. I'm not saying you should trust them. I'm saying maybe Hana deserves a chance to know her mother's family. Maybe supervised visits. Here at the house where you control the environment. Why are you defending them? I'm not defending them. I'm thinking about Hana. About what happens when she's older and asks about her mother's family. What do we tell her? That they wanted to see her, but we said no? That we kept her from them because of old grudges? Minjun was quiet, his jaw working. You're too good, Kendra. Too forgiving. I'm practical. And I know that family is complicated. She kissed him softly. Just think about it, okay? We don't have to decide tonight. I'll think about it. He pulled her closer. But if they hurt you or Hana, all consideration is off the table. Deal. The resolution. Building bridges. 3 days later, Minjun arranged a meeting. At the house, during the day, with Dong-wook and 2 other guards present. Sujin came alone, looking nervous. Hana was in the playroom with Mrs. Cho and James, unaware of the visitor. Thank you for seeing me, Sujin said when Minjun and Kendra greeted her in the formal living room. Thank my wife. This was her idea. Minjun's tone was cold. I want to be clear, this is a trial. One wrong move, one hint that you're here for any reason other than genuinely wanting to know Hana, and you'll never see her again. I understand. Do you? Because 3 years ago, you and your family tried to destroy me, called me a monster, an unfit father, a criminal who should never have custody of a child. Sujin flinched. We were wrong. We were angry and grieving, and we blamed you for something that wasn't your fault. Jiwon's death was tragic, but it wasn't your fault. Tell that to your father. My father is old and set in his ways. But I've had 3 years to think about what we did, to regret how we treated you. She looked at Kendra. When I saw you at the clinic, saw how you talked about Hana with such love, I realized how wrong I'd been. Hana has a mother who adores her. She has a family, and I've been missing out because I was too proud to admit we were wrong. Minjun glanced at Kendra, who nodded slightly. 1 hour, he said. Supervised. If it goes well, we can discuss future visits. Sujin's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. Mrs. Cho brought Hana to the living room. The little girl stopped when she saw the stranger, moving instinctively toward Kendra. Mama, who is that? Kendra crouched to Hana's level. Baby girl, this is your Aunt Sujin. She's your birth mother's sister. She wants to meet you. Hana studied Sujin with solemn eyes. Do you have pictures of my first mommy? Sujin nodded, pulling out her phone. Would you like to see them? Kendra watched as Hana slowly approached Sujin, curiosity overcoming caution. They sat on the couch together, looking at photos, Sujin telling stories about Jiwon in a mix of Korean and English. She was beautiful, Hana said, touching a photo of Jiwon. I look like her a little bit. You do. You have her eyes and her smile. Sujin's voice was thick with emotion. She would have loved you so much. Mama says she's watching over me from heaven. Mama is right. Sujin glanced at Kendra. You're very lucky to have such a wonderful mama. Hana nodded seriously. I know. Mama is the best. The hour passed quickly. By the end, Hana was showing Sujin her favorite toys and telling her about preschool. When it was time to leave, Sujin hugged her niece carefully. Can I come back? She asked Minjun at the door. He looked at Kendra, who nodded. Next week. Same time. After Sujin left, Minjun pulled Kendra into his arms. You were right. I usually am. He laughed. Hana was happy. That's what matters. Your wife is very wise, Kendra said, grinning. My wife is everything. The joy. Expanding love. 2 months later, Kendra stood in the bathroom staring at a positive pregnancy test. Baby number 3. Her hand instinctively went to her still flat stomach. Another child. Another blessing. She heard Minjun downstairs with the kids, his deep voice mixing with Hana's laughter and James's babbles. Her family. About to get bigger. Kendra? Minjun called up the stairs. Dinner's ready. Coming. She hid the test in her pocket, planning to tell him later when the kids were asleep. Dinner was the usual cheerful chaos. Hana told them about her day at preschool while James threw food and Minjun pretended to be scandalized. James, we don't wear spaghetti as a hat. He's expressing himself, Kendra said, wiping sauce off their son's curls. He's expressing a desire to make bath time complicated. After dinner, after baths, After bedtime stories and lullabies, Kendra finally had Minjun alone in their bedroom. "I have something to tell you." He looked up from his phone, immediately alert. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. Everything's perfect. Actually," she pulled out the pregnancy test. "We're having another baby." For a moment, Minjun just stared. Then he was across the room, picking her up and spinning her around. "We're having a baby. Careful, pregnant lady here." He set her down gently, his hands immediately going to her stomach. "How far along?" "About 6 weeks, I think. I'll call Dr. Park tomorrow to confirm." "Another baby." His eyes shone with tears. "Our family keeps growing. Are you happy?" "Happy? Kendra, I'm ecstatic. You've given me everything. A home, a family, a reason to be better." He kissed her deeply. "I love you so much." "I love you too." They held each other in the quiet of their bedroom. Two people who'd found each other in the most unexpected way and built something beautiful. "Do you ever think about that night?" Kendra asked. "When I found Hana?" "Every day." "Do you think we would have met any other way?" Minjun considered. "No, I think Hana brought us together. Think that the universe knew we needed each other and orchestrated that terrible, perfect moment." "So, our daughter being put in a freezer was fate?" Our daughter surviving because of your bravery was fate. The rest was just the path we needed to walk to find each other." Kendra rested her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. Strong and steady, like the man himself. "I'm glad I listened to that sound," she said quietly. "Glad I opened the freezer. I'm glad you're brave. Glad you're kind. Glad you're mine. Forever?" "Forever," he confirmed. And as they fell asleep wrapped in each other's arms, another life growing between them, Kendra thought about how strange and wonderful life was. She'd been a broke waitress with big dreams. Now she was a nurse, a wife, a mother to 2, soon-to-be 3, beautiful children. She'd found love in the most unexpected place. Built a family with a man who would move heaven and earth to protect them. Created a life that blended cultures and backgrounds and experiences into something uniquely theirs. All because she'd listened to a baby cry. All because she'd been brave enough to open a freezer door. All because she'd chosen compassion over convenience. Sometimes the smallest choices lead to the biggest changes. Sometimes saving someone else saves you too. And sometimes, just sometimes, love finds you in the coldest, darkest places and transforms everything. Kendra Williams Kang fell asleep smiling, one hand on her stomach where new life grew, the other entwined with her husband's, surrounded by the family they'd built from ashes and ice and unexpected grace. This was her life now, and it was absolutely perfect. Thank you so much for experiencing Kendra and Minjun's incredible journey from a freezing moment of terror to a lifetime of warmth and love. If this story touched your heart, if you felt every moment of fear when Kendra found baby Hana in that freezer, if you held your breath during the attack on Kendra's apartment, if you smiled when Minjun proposed, and if you felt the joy of their growing family, then this video was made for you. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another emotional romance story like this one. We're building a community of romance lovers who believe in the power of unexpected love, fierce protection, and families forged through courage.